Hey, Alide, I want to just give you some feedback here in terms of your second write-in assignment. So I think for the most part, there were some really good questions that you talked about in here, in terms of finding out a little bit more about what it was like to be a police officer. I was glad that you were pleasantly surprised. I think that you mentioned that you weren't really looking forward to doing that, and towards the end you said that it's something that you were actually a little bit surprised that you would want to do it. There were, as you were talking about it, one of the things that I want you to work on is how to rephrase what someone says without having to, like, okay, let me explain what I mean by this. You wrote, I asked about how long it would take to do reports on how they worked, and Mr. You meant forgot told me that the DUI reports take around 3 hours. Okay, so instead of saying I asked about that and he told me this, you could just say, in terms of how long it takes to do a report, Mr. suggested or stated that DUI reports take around 3 hours. It's just, I want you to work on how to incorporate sources within your paper, because right now you're doing too much, like, this is what I asked, this is what they said, um, and so you don't have to do that all the time. There were a couple of parts I was surprised that you didn't ask, for example, some of the surprises within the community. I'm glad that you asked about the writing. While I'd certainly, I love that you asked this question. I wish maybe you would have elaborated a little bit more about that particular question. While I laughed when I was reading this particular question here about being asked out, I don't know if it was really relevant to the discussion. But that's fine. I mean, like I said, I didn't grade you down because of it, but I just wish, like, maybe you had asked, for example, about any surprises in the community, how to move up, what are some of the unwritten rules, a lot of things that we had talked about in relation to discourse communities in general. So overall, one thing that I would say is there were a few, you probably could have, it would have been a little bit better had you gotten someone to read your paper. There are a few little things here and there just to clean up the paper a little bit more, that I think overall it would have been a more effective paper. I think it was informative, to be honest with you. It really was informative. I just, I just think that there were some things that you left unexplained, or just, not analyzed as much as perhaps you could have. All right, so good job. Just wish you had explored a few areas that weren't explored in here. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to provide more feedback for you. Okay, thanks.